a question which could be interesting to ask is, are there any people that you feel really kind of shake your foundation of the world in a sense that you want to be in touch with them? Are there any people that you severely disagree with, but you feel that they are significant people in your life?
So it has to be people that I know personally or not necessarily?
Okay, that's a good question. I would go with personally.
Okay. That's a good question. I'll need to think about it for a second.
Or maybe just in general, like if you can remember anybody who has
because the word
deeply shaken your
the first name that comes to mind is Tucker Carlson. Like I adore this person. Like I really think he's like an extremely intelligent person. He's an amazing journalist. And I'm like a journalism freak. I'm really into the how do you call it? Like the news. What's
the news?
What's a?
I am into the olds.
The olds. And he usually really shakes my fundamental understanding of things because like he sees things from a completely different perspective, right? From like this conservative American conservative perspective, which is completely foreign to me. But he's also an extremely intelligent person. And I learn a lot from listening to the different conversations he's having with all kinds of people. And it was actually really interesting to see throughout the war because, like, for example, he's an anti-war conservative, which is quite rare in the States, actually. Most conservatives have been in the same positions since the Bush era, right? That like they would say that they're anti-war, but they would fund the most destructive wars on Earth, like on Earth's history. But he's an actual like anti-war proponent. And it was like extremely interesting to see his interview with Vladimir Putin, for example, because like no one interviewed him in the West since the start of the war. I don't know why. Maybe he refused all other interviewers, right? He refused all other interviewers because they wouldn't let him speak, and Tucker Carlson just let him spout out his anti-Semitic and extremely distorted versions of history that he talked in the interview. But it's interesting because it gives you insights into the ways people operate. We talked about it before. Like a really good thing he does as an interviewer, he knows how to listen. Like most interviewers these days, they don't know how to listen, right? It's all about virtue signaling. You bring the interviewee, and the moment he says something that is like opposed to your network's agenda, you have to challenge them. You have to make their life hell just to show that you're on the good side and they're on the bad side. And what I liked about the Putin interview is that basically you just like let him speak. Like, let's see what he says. And when you listen to Putin, you see like he's an extremely insane person. And I think this is the best way to like to understand what we're dealing with, you know? If you feel that you're part of like the West, you know, if you're part of this like Western civilization, like it's really important to understand what your enemy has to say. And I think this was super effective.
Know thy enemy.
Yeah, and I think this was extremely effective. But also like during the war now, like since he has this very Christian conservative perspective, he actually interviewed a Palestinian Christian, how do you call it? what's the Christian version of a rabbi? A priest,
chaplain.
A priest, like a Palestinian priest. And they, like, for 40 minutes, they only talked about how Palestinian Christians are being oppressed and slaughtered throughout this war. But it was really interesting to understand this perspective that I never got, of like the Palestinian Christians, what they think about the whole thing, because they definitely have a different perspective from Hamas, who's like an Islamist organization, right? So it was really interesting to hear. And like, of course, like I said, Tucker Carlson is just like a good listener. You just like let him speak and like to see what he has to say. So yeah, like I would say in this vein also like someone like Steve Bannon. I think he's an extremely interesting person that completely challenges me. And like, there's this fear of radicalization, right? When you listen to this, like these alt-right figures, you'll get radicalized and you'll start to agree with them. And like, no, I don't agree with them. Like, I don't think the Great Replacement is a thing, but I understand where they're coming from. And I think understanding where they're coming from is the best way. Like you said, know thy enemy. If you actually think as like a progressive, as a woke person, right? As someone from the left, you think they're completely wrong and that they're wreaking havoc and that they're saying things that are completely terrible and bigoted and destructive. Like, you need to understand where they're coming from. So for me, these people, like, they really shake my world, because like I grew in and I think this is also part of the corruption of the academia, right? Because you get this feeling when you're in the academia that like people from the right are stupid. This is like the general sense, right? When you're in the academia, like people from the right are stupid. We're on the left. We're on the right side of history.
We're the moralists.
Yeah, we're the moralists.
We're the humanists.
Yeah, and they're just trying to conserve this like terrible shadow of us, of like the slavery and bigotry and racism and the Holocaust and all these terrible things, and they have no merit, these conservatives. And I think, no, maybe there are some things that we used to do in the past, and maybe we still do them, that are worth conserving. That's the concept of conservatism, right? And yeah, unfortunately, I feel I don't have enough conservative friends, people I can actually call friends. I have some colleagues at work, but unfortunately, all the people from the right I met in my life that were usually in our age group, they were not real conservatives. They were reactionists. I can't stand reactionists, because this is a non-ideology, right?
Yeah.
This is just like everything that you say, I would say the opposite. This is not like, you can't have a real discourse like this. But real devout conservatives, like these are people, when they're like extremely articulate, they can really, like shake my world in like you said, in the sense that it makes me better understand people and understand the world, like we talked before, like how people operate. I mean, I would say my friend Kobe, who's a religious person now. He didn't used to be a religious person, but now he's religious. He really challenges me a lot, and I'm grateful for that, because this really makes me see the world in a different way, which is great.
Okay, cool. I think then my last question. Yes. To friends.
To friends! Not the show.
To Kobe.
To Kobe.